I'll give it a minute and see if anyone responds. If not, then I can use my website. Okay, so it looks like Benny. So you dropped in your website, Benny, and yeah, no worries, Erica. Yeah, if and like I said, we can do one-on-one sessions too if you want to reach out to me and just do like a one-on-one session, and I could run all these audit reports for you as well. So look at that. Looking at the page in here, these are the different grade. You don't really have to go into detail, but you want to look at the performance, accessibility, best practices, SEO. So this isn't too bad, Benny. I would try to, be over, at least close to 80% is what I would target. This is just for the mobile side, but if you look at the desktop side, your website is a lot better. You're in the 90s for performance, accessibility, best practices, SEO. So it looks like you got to do some little bit SEO. And any developer can look at this and be able to tell what the data, the metric here means. It's telling you that sometimes images are, too big, the server is loading too slow. So these are some of the things where a developer can look at and know what to fix. But if you're in the 90s, that's pretty good already. I'd say there's not much to really change. Maybe just fix a little bit on your mobile side here. And then here is the mobile friendly test here. So I'll just copy your website. While this is running, so this is a two-part class. So this first class is going to, we're going to be teaching more about like the basic overview, research, audit. How do you get started with all these tools? How do you utilize these tools and read all these data to optimize your website? Because you have to know how to research before you can optimize your website. You can't just rank for some random keyword that may not have any search. No one could be searching for it, and you could be ranked on the first page. That's not going to drive any traffic to your website. So that's why it's important to know what to do all these research and analysis, and then you can apply search engine optimization on your website here. So Benny, it's saying page isn't usable for mobile. Crawl successfully. And one other way you can test it is pull up your website on your mobile phone. Like, is it formatted correctly, right? Are the fonts big enough? So there's usually, most of the time, websites have a desktop version and a mobile version, and you want to make sure it's dynamic and responsive. Meaning, you go to any type of browser or device, it's gonna be responsive to that particular platform and display readable information. So I'll run this again, but it's telling me sometimes this tool you have to run 2 times, but it's telling me that the web page is not mobile friendly. So that's something we'll, like I said, we can look into, Benny, offline. And and then I'm going to try to show you all some other websites that are free to use. Many of these SEO tools are paid versions. So I'm trying to provide tools that are free so you all can have access to it. So now that we check to see if your website is, SEO friendly, well, mobile friendly, and check the basic overview of the page speed. Now we go into more of the, now we can go into more of the website audit. So it's going to audit your website to look at if it's SEO friendly. Let me see. I think this report. Sorry, I ran it too many times here, but I'm going to pull up SEMrush since this is a free tool as well, and it's also the one I have here is paid subscription, but you can do basic stuff on it with the free account. And when I type on your website, it's going to give me like a quick overview of your website, right? It's going to be your domain authority. Your domain authority is based out of 100 points. So it's a little low, but that's not something to worry about. You can always improve it. It's gonna give like a quick overview of your organic search traffic that it's projecting that you get about 200 visitors per month. You have about 200 backlinks. Backlink meaning you have a link from another website to your website. So for example, if you have a LinkedIn profile or business profile that has a link to your website, that's counted as a backlink. So this is more like technical analysis here, where if you're a beginner, you may not know how to read this data here. But for someone like us, who's been doing this for years, I can kind of read, I can kind of look at the search engine, organic keywords here. This is kind of like a chart to show where your keywords are ranking, the top 3 to the top 100. The organic keywords that your website is ranking for, which it's ranking for in focus systems. I know that you do. I believe. I'm gonna open up your website real quick and to show everyone here. So in focus system, you do home automation, meaning you set up smart TV or smart communication between your home theater, right? And you control it with maybe like Alexa or some type of technology to take care of all the lightings and volume control and all that stuff. So again, home automation is probably what we want to look for to do some keyword research on. But this is just looking at your overall domain name, and then I can go on and on about this, but we'll try to make it simple here so everyone can understand. And I think we did a little bit last time. I know we did a little bit last time, but let's try, like, for example, if I type in home automation, right? So part of the audit report will be for that. And here we're doing more like a keyword research report, where for home automation, it's getting 12,000 searches in the US. So we may want to target that down to Minnesota. If your company is in Minnesota, we may want to fine tune that to just Minnesota. But there is a demand for that. People are typing home automation. So these are some of the keywords that, yes, you should be targeting as well. And then, when you look at home automation, this tool here is showing me the top 10 ranking for home automation, right? So when you do your analysis, you want to look at your top 10 competitors. So instead of using this tool, if you want to just type in home automation on Google, you'll see that the top 10 websites here will give you an idea of what you can do to see what they're doing, and to kind of I wouldn't say copy, but to kind of see what the strategy is, right? Why are they ranking on the first page of Google? So for example, let's look at Home Assistant here. I can open that up, and we can look at to see how many times home automation is mentioned on the web page here. It looks like it's mentioned 3 times here. And I can look at your website here. Let's see how many times you have home automation mentioned. So you have about 5. Home automation mentioned 5 times versus one of your competitors. So that tells me that, hey, there's probably other factors that's affecting that this website has that's helping it to rank high for home automations. It could be the backlinks that it's getting. It could be its domain authority, could be higher. So those are some of the deep dive analysis and research that we want to look into. But without going off course here, we want to kind of focus on website audit, right? Like, how do you audit your website here? And just to bring back the tool that I use, there's a lot of different tools you can use to audit your website. You just have to find, like I said, I'm trying to find which one is free so that you guys can use without paying for it. So SEMrush is one of them. I'm going to show you another one. And Mo, if you have any other ones that you think is good, feel free to shout that out.
Yeah, this is to review the keywords on the page.
Yeah, just a basic website audit, like what type of tools do we use? Like, I use many different tools here. I have like a online tool that I use. I have like a desktop tool that I use as well. But
yeah, and it really all depends on the type of data that we're trying to extract. So there is more market-based research. Now for that, SimilarWeb is a good go, and that gives you an idea across different channels how your competitors are positioned. And then more on the technical or SEO side, we can go into SEO tool reviews. That is SEOreviewtool.com, I believe, is the website. And when we're ready, I can share my screen and we can go through what that process looks like. It's pretty standard, straightforward, plugging in a domain, and based off of the crawl, we're able to see what keywords are appearing where and with where. And let me actually start my screen here. We can go through that together. All right. You all see my screen? All right, very good. Okay, so for the audit, there is the way that I mentioned there, where we go into SimilarWeb. We'll type in a website here. So let's say, for example, promo.com. And we're trying to understand positioning. So if I scroll down here, that is positioning across different channels. Direct is anybody coming into the website through the domain. So they plug in similarweb.com, for example. Referrals is coming in through a different website. Organic search is what we're focusing on today, and you'll find that most websites are leaning heavy on driving most of the users into the website via the search engine results page, and that is the page that we get here when we go into, let's say, Video Maker. So most of the traffic is being generated through the page here, and John went over all the different access points, the real estate available either on the homepage here or through the different avenues available. But going back into the ChatGPT way, this is more of a conversational way to extract insights from current website standings. So if we're going into our chat GPT, we'll go into GPT-4. And what we want to do is go directly into the plugins and find the scraper plugin. So the way you do that is going into the plugin store. And from there, You can either use Scraper, or you can use other tools like Link Reader. That all does the same function. So we'll go ahead and use the one that's there now. And what we want to do is just use simple language and say, perform an SEO audit for, and then we'll plug in our website here. All right. Now, there are obviously some limitations in the type of data that ChatGPT or any other third-party platform can access. A lot of that is gated. But in this case, we're getting the core of what needs to happen in order for us to see improvements across the different areas that are outlined here. So it starts off by explaining technical audit. And John went over the website speed, mobile friendliness. So these are all part of the checklist. And what this does here, having it on this interface, is allows you to engage and say, okay, interesting. Tell me more about the technical audit. Provide step by step actions. And you know what? Let's be a little bit more specific even and say about the mobile. Let's get more technical even. SSL certificate. Okay. Now we have gotten a list here of, let's say 25 to 30. Each one would have a checkbox next to it. And we're going to be troubleshooting with ChatGPT to get a better understanding of what needs to happen here for knowledge gaps, but also for implementation for action items that are required, either for me to take that and implement it by myself, or to hand instructions over to a developer or a specialist that's able to execute based off of the instructions that we have here. So very simple, natural language, and making sure that we are asking the questions that are logical to us. We don't need to be highly technical. It comes down to, what can you tell me about this website? What can be improved with content? For example, you can say, explain to me how I can build on my blogs while remaining relevant with my topics. And that ultimately is something that we can touch on when it comes down to mapping the different topics that exist on the website. And we'll touch on that during the road mapping stage. But for now, we want to look at the technicals. We want to look at the usability. We want to look at our core web vitals and ensure that the baseline measurements are all there in order for us now to build with value-driven content. And that's where we get into the roadmap. Before going too far there, John, did you have anything that you wanted to run through when it came down to the competitor analysis? Okay, while you're getting that sorted out, I'll run through the approach here that is similar to what we're doing with the ChatGPT plugin. But what we're going to do is instead go into code interpreter. We're going to go back into similar web. So the tools that we're using here is going to be Nimbus or any other screenshot tool. Similar web for holistic market data. And ChatGPT code interpreter to interpret and provide relevant insights to the report, providing again, recommendation type answer that we can take and hand over to a specialist or execute ourselves by asking more questions and following up with more details or step-by-steps. All right, so Nimbus, similar web, ChatGPT. We have our similar web. Nimbus is a Chrome extension. Now, Chrome extensions are very helpful in case you haven't explored that avenue. You just go into your Google Chrome, manage extensions. They'll go into the store. And I personally use Nimbus. You get that installed. Right now I have the remove prompt because it's already installed. You come back into similar web. So a quick overview of the information that we're getting for now both our brand and as well a competitor brand. And this is where we're able to get a side-by-side comparison of overall rank across similar web. This is a metric that they use to gauge the engagement level, popularity, search volume, density across different channels, coming down into the traffic across the competing domain and yours, going down to geo, showing you how the domain or the property is performing across different locations, audience demographic, gender, age distribution, coming down into what we touched on before, and this is the channel distribution. So we're going to be mostly talking about this here, but definitely good to keep in mind the paid, the social, the mail, the display, that digital marketing is a holistic effort, does not just rely on one avenue. But again, a lot of the businesses that we're going to see are going to be mostly organic based. Okay, and all that means is they have content that's valuable to the user. Google appreciates that and serves it to the user. All right, and now here we can get as well different comparisons in case we have somebody in the blind spot and we want to capture insights for, we can throw that into the mix. Okay, so this gives us a good general understanding of positioning for our website versus the others, but we want to get deeper insights. We want to start to correlate and ask the AI for patterns. So we're going to go into our Nimbus up here. I want to make sure the screen is cleared and take a screenshot of the entire screen. All right, we'll save it. We'll go into our code interpreter. And the great thing about the interpreter is it allows you to import files. So we're just going to drag that in there and say, provide a summary of insights and recommendations. I can't spell, but that's fine because GPT accepts it. And based on the report attached. Again, this one's a bit embarrassing. All right. All right, so sometimes it's going to come back and it will ask for more information. Other times it will ask itself to go deeper and find different pathways to solving the problem, or coming back with some sort of solution. So I've displayed the screenshot you've provided. Okay, so I was able to identify it. Unfortunately, I can't directly read the content image. However, I can describe the visual elements or assets. Perfect. To help me provide insights and recommendations, please summarize or detail the key points and data from the screenshot. Okay, well, that's more work, and I want the AI to get a better understanding and to go through the motion of learning and deciphering what is on the screen here. So I'm going to say, use the data available to you on the report, find patterns. Let's say with patterns, understand the meaning and impact behind the data.
And Mo, we had a question. Just, what's the name of the plugin that you are using with ChatGPT?
So this is, right now we're using the code interpreter. Before, we were using Scraper, either Scraper or Link Reader. So what we're trying to do with these two plugins is access the internet, because without the plugins, ChatGPT is just a black box. It's not providing, or it's providing information relative to data that it has stored and it has trained on. So what this allows it to do is access the wider web and then use its language model to make sense of the content and then delivering an answer or some sort of response. Okay, so now it comes back being a little bit more specific with the questions. Please describe the content, the screenshot, what kind of metrics are displayed, example, website. Okay, use labels provided on the report. Everything is labeled. Okay, now it's going back to do some work. Okay. All right, I apologize for the misunderstanding. Okay, thank you for your patience. Website comparison. All right, there we go. So promo.com, global rank, the traffic and engagement last month, 410,000 visits, 10% change, average visit duration, and then it gives you the competitor, traffic share by country. So they have a country-wide distribution, but the exact countries and the percentages are not fully captured. Gender, promo.com, male 60%, whereas makealivingwriting.com, males 47%. So what we want to do is take all of that and find the insights. So promo.com, it seems to have a higher global rank and receive more traffic compared to Make a Living. Make a Living experience a higher month-over-month growth ratio in traffic, and it's able really to break things down to you in a way where you can see the value much clearer, and as well follows up with recommendations based off of the data, based off of the insights. So again, same process that we followed earlier. We can dig deeper and say, okay, well, interesting, you mentioned the month-over-month growth. Provide more detail around traffic or month-over-month traffic change between the two websites. Right, and the idea here is to get curious. And again, nothing here should be out of reach. Everything should be a logical next step forward, trying to get a better understanding of just a small component of what we're talking about here. And you'll find that it all relates to each other. It all becomes very standard when we tend to overcomplicate when we introduce technicals. So the standard approach is always best. And when the need does come up for technical insight outside of that, then of course you can reach out for expert help or specialty help. But in this case, a lot of it is rudimentary and can be executed, if not quickly, quite simply. Okay. All right, so we have here, certainly let's delve deeper, promo, and then providing here much more information. Okay. And interesting, you can take this information here. Now, if you are reporting to stakeholders and you want to turn this into a report, there are ways that you can then say, break this down into a 10-slide presentation I can share with the team. was bee friendly. Alrighty, and that breaks that down there. And of course, this gives you as well an idea of the flexibility and the different approaches, the angles that you can take to engage and interact with ChatGPT. Alrighty, so that is the competitor analysis from a market standpoint. We touched on the SEO road mapping briefly, and this would be a good bridge into this phase, because after finishing with the competitor analysis, we have an idea of where our competitors lie, and we're able to better navigate the landscape based off of a couple of factors. One of those factors, as John touched on, was the keyword selection. So how are we able to find those keyword opportunities? And in this case, we're going to use SEO review tool. More specifically, actually. The domain rank checker, okay? And SEO review tools has several tools that can be very helpful across different stages. But right now, we're just going to focus on the domain rank checker, excuse me. All right, so first thing to do, enter the URL. I'm going to go ahead and plug in our promo.com. Language, US, more like region. I'm not a robot. Perform check. Okay, it wants to be technical, so HTTPS. In other words, what we're doing is going here, and instead of just being lazy with the TDL, top level domain, we'll copy the whole URL and we'll bring it back into enter URL, perform check. Alrighty, so it did its thing, comes back, says we have average position is 6, pretty good. Increase in rank, decrease in rank. So average increase 4 spots across all the keywords that are being ranked on this website. But what we care about the most is the keywords themselves. So here's where we're able to see, okay, this is the keyword that shows up for that page, because a keyword is just a keyword. Every keyword has to have a page that delivers on that experience. So for each page, looking at it the other way around, has a list of keywords that lead into it. These are all the pages. These are all the keywords. And that's why we see several of the same URL, because that is just coming through different keywords. Each keyword has a position. So that is on our search engine results page. Number 2, number 3, number 4. We also know that there are also asked that all feed from other positions here. And we're looking for the keywords that present the highest level of volume as one metric. Now, of course, we're looking for competition. We're looking for the general authority of the other domains, because we don't want to go head to head with a heavy hitter on the first page when we don't have the right type of authority or we haven't been in the market for long enough. So we see here a keyword that has pretty good volume, 90,500, and the competition is sitting at 2, pretty good, and it's driving us to a page that we know if a user is typing that keyword in Google and they land on this page, they're probably going to get the value they're looking for. So that checks out relevance wise. The numbers check out. We can then take that keyword and use that as an anchor root topic so that we're able to go into the next stage, which is Swift Brief, to build out a list of pages that we can produce based off of image resizer topic. Knowing that this is one of the top keywords that we want to focus on because the data sets up, and as well, we are confident we're delivering value on that level. So we plug that in here. Add topic. We'll choose a brand because you can have a couple of different brands here. Okay, so now it's saying you can enter the topic here and we'll export a list of opportunities. We'll scour the Google pages to find other keywords that other pages are also ranking for, so that we're maximizing our chances of appearing on the first page, not just for image resizer parent keyword, but all other keywords that fall within that, so that we're also building relevance across other pages. And we're showing Google we are an authority across image resizer because we talked about image resizer for Mac, we talked about image resizer for Windows, we talked about image resizer for mobile. So we've taken a couple of different approaches all within and clustered underneath image resizer keyword. And that is what we're seeing here, saying that is going to be our cluster. And right now we don't have a list of keywords. If we did, we can import that into the system, but we're just going to say, you do the work, get us a list of subtopics. So right now it's clustering, categorizing. And the idea here is to line up a set of pages that we know we need to produce to capture users. And it's not just going to be sporadically going after a user, but following a certain approach that we know is doubling down on an existing authority. And the great thing here about the tool is it takes into consideration the next stage that's required. And that is, okay, well, now we have a roadmap, a list of pages, list of content that needs to be produced. This produces or gets it to the stage where it's producing briefs to be handed over to the content writer. So that is where we're going to be going next. We're presented here with a screen. We're going to select all keywords. So out of image resizer, we have bulk image resizer, we have Adobe, we have all the different variations that can be tackled or can be captured by producing content around each one of those. So we're going to confirm the keyword list. And we have our volume next to each one so that we're sorting based off of exposure or potential exposure. Alrighty, so we have our topics now. We can go back to the roadmap. This is our root topic. We click on it. We have all of the subtopics. Each one is a page that can be produced and published on the website to support and reinforce the pillar image resizer. So we're able to say, okay, interesting. There is a bulk image resizer here, the Adobe one. First, let's see what it looks like on Google. It's important that whatever we're building matches the intent and relevance. And if it all checks out, okay, sweet, I'm happy with this. Let's go ahead and produce a blog around bulk image resizer. Create a brief. Okay, so the SERP information, that is search engine results page. That is this information. Clustering is the system going in and finding all the different keywords scattered around, putting them into groups. Meta information to ensure that we have the reinforcement in the data that's being captured page by page. And then we have the content angle, that is any added direction that is given to the system to be handed over to the writer with instructions and guidelines for them to follow in order for them to align with the data that was captured during this process. So what we end up with is a sheet, and we're going to see that sheet in just a second. And that sheet is going to have our content angle at the bottom here. So here, for example, as part of TMA, and this is the brand that when you open up the account, you set up what it is that you do so that all of the information that's captured here and the recommendations are relevant to the value that you can pull. All right, so here is the brief for editing. Before I hand that over, I want to make sure that everything is in the right place. Okay, here is going to be the new URL. Here is going to be the title. Here's going to be the description, the word count for that page, the number of links to include, questions that I need to include, knowing that users asking or searching for bulk image resizer are asking these key questions. Sources to read, these are benchmarks. And we're able to get a deeper look into all the different keywords that were selected. But what we care about right now is see the outline. Okay. This is my H1, my H2 notes, all the way down. Great. Finalize the brief. And here it is. Where's my brief? There we go. All right. So we have everything now ready to be shipped off to the writer. Writer comes in. They know their angle, introduction, all the headings, and underneath each heading, instructions highlight how bulk images resizer saves time and effort, so on and so forth. Here's the second heading. Here is the explanation for the writer, so on and so forth. So they just come in and produce that. Or you can even take that a step further. If you are willing to take the risk with AI generated content, is to say, or is to rather copy and then paste. And in this case, 3.5 will do. Okay, and that's our content for that part of the page. Once all that is done, then it goes into execution. That's something that we can touch on the second webinar that we'll have. But this gives you an idea of the process from having different opportunities. So let me go back into our roadmap. So going back into here, all of our pages. Here's the first one that we created. All the other ones are now lined up so that we can start to run through content and publish consistently and publish in a way that is, again, aligning with user intent, aligning with the core authority that we're trying to build, knowing that we're image resizer as a primary and these as a secondary supporting content. Right. So that is the roadmap into content briefs. Any questions from anyone with regards to the process there?
Mo, is this tool here is it a paid subscription, or can someone use it for free?
Yeah, so this is a right now there is a 7-day free trial, but also when you go into swiftbrief.com and you go into free tools, you're able to access the content brief generator directly through here. And that is the second part of that process, where you just plug in the audience and the topic here, and it will generate a brief. But then if you're looking for the full experience with the roadmap, that is where you go into free trial and make sure that within those 7 days, you're testing this out, you're seeing what the effectiveness is, and the continuing according to what you're seeing in the performance, and as well how much time it takes off of your schedule if you do this now on a manual basis.
Okay, got it. Yeah, and if I know this may be a lot of information for you all, but this is something where it's good if you do the research, and it also helps you produce content from your research. So using AI tools, so that's one way you can go about doing is learning how to use these tools, and then automating these tools into creating content. And these content, you can create fresh content every week for your website, which is going to give you a good chance to rank better versus hiring like a writer, right, to write these for you, which can be more costly if you were to hire a writer and doing it yourself. So those are different options that we're showing you. I know I showed you guys some of the tools that I use, and Mo is also showing you more AI generated competitive analysis tools to use.
Yeah, and there are different approaches that you can take when it comes down to understanding your website or your competitors' websites. So as well, if you're looking to do the work yourself, I would say SEOreviewtool.com, and you go into SEO tools, you'll find a full breadth of tools available. And if you're looking for a done for you approach where it's a plug and play, I just know the topic, generate briefs, you're better off going with something that is end to end. So it's good to have an idea of how this works in order for you to analyze at this stage, because nothing that we get from here is going to be 100% reasonable or truthful, or whatever other metric that we want to use to gauge the quality that's coming out. So we want to make sure that across all the different steps, we are taking the time to review and properly analyze what is being extracted, so that when we are executing, that is according to not just what the AI is saying, but best practices that we know we should follow.
Right. Any questions? And I could probably show you like a plugin for the Chrome browser that I use. Are you done with the presentation there, Mo?
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna take over real quick and just kind of show everyone another method where they can use a plugin tool to help them do research here. So let me just bring up my screen here. So I'm gonna go back to Infosys, Benny, your website. There's a tool called SEO Quick. You can install it as one of the Chrome extension. And then when you go onto websites, you can just click on it. It'll tell you what the description title is for your homepage. So for example, let's go back to your homepage here. And if you have this installed, it's called SEO Quick. It's a free extension. You click on it, it'll give you like a tab here. You can look at your page info of the current page that I'm on. You can do some diagnosis, internal. You can look at the internal links, external links. density, meaning the keyword that your web page has. You can compare another URL. So if I look at the page info here, this is what your page has for the title. You might not see it, but this is for the in the meta tags, right? Your page says info system, home, and commercial automation, St. Paul, Minnesota. But I'm looking at your website. Looks like your address is in Minneapolis, so that's something you may want to fix. Is probably add Minneapolis in it. And if I was to do like, for example, let me just do like a search here. I was looking into some of your keywords. A lot of people like to use home automation install, right? Smart home automation install. So let's do smart home automation install in Minneapolis.
Hey, John,
And
are
yeah,
you sharing your screen?
yes. Can you guys see it?
Okay, maybe it's just me.
Let me know if you guys can see my screen. How about now? Can you guys see my
Okay, yep.
Okay. Let me just go back real quick. So when I search smart home automation install in Minneapolis, these are the first results, right? So for example, in Biddy, I know that's what your business does. So if I want to do a competitive analysis on your competition, who's ranking on the first position on Google organic, I can click on their website here. If I want to do some study, I can click on, again, I was talking about SEO Quick. It's a Google extension. It's free. And when you click on it, it'll give you some options on what you want to do. So if I want to look at the page information, what Google sees, their title, have smart home automation system in Minnetonka, Burnsville, beyond. They have a description as well. And then if I look at yours, Benny, for example, if I type in in focus system, I can do the same too. So the way I would do it is, let's find out, the top search results, why they're ranking, and compared to yours, why you're not ranking, right? When I look at page info, you have St. Paul. So the search I did was smart home automation in Minneapolis, right? But yours is St. Paul. But I know that your address here, based on your address, you have a St. Louis and also St. Paul location. So I would probably add maybe St. Paul and Minneapolis or St. Louis Park, right? Since you have two locations here, into the title page here, because you just have St. Paul here. And then you can even go further if you want to compare URLs. You can also compare your URL homepage with your competitors and also see how you compare next to each other, right? So I did. So when I compare your URL with their webpage that's ranking for smart home automation in Minneapolis, I can look at more detailed number in terms of, what Google is indexing, the type of backlink that they have compared to you, subdomain backlink. So I think I want to highlight subdomain backlink. They have over 700 backlinks and your website has 100, right? So that's why they're ranking a lot higher too. So these are some of the technical analysis that you can do. You can have the same amount of keywords on your homepage, but you may not rank the same because there's other factors that matters, right? Like I mentioned before, when you look at the PowerPoint slide, it could be the engagement factor, who's clicking on your website. It could be, the backlink that's coming to your website. It could be how fast your speed is. So these are all the different factors that will affect the way you rank. But just on a high level, just basic stuff is, just make sure you have the right keywords, making sure you have the right meta description, and then again, before you even do any optimization in keywords, you want to find out, what keywords are bringing in traffic, right? So I wanted to show you guys like a free tool from Google. So if you type in ads.google.com, this is a tool that you can run to use. This is a tool to use to run paid ads, but you can use the keyword planner tool here to help you find your keywords. So let's say if I want to let's look for search volume and forecast, and I was to type in smart home automation install, right? And then I did search. Let me just copy this. Google. So based on this, it's not finding anything, but let's try smart home automation, smart home automation install. See if it picks up some more. So yeah, so it was just too, so we just needed to be a little bit broad. So when I did this search here, this is based in United States. If I want to go to just Minnesota, I just type in Minnesota, right? So the search results here will only show what people are searching for in Minnesota, Minnesota, US, and its own data for the month, right? July, June, and June, well, for the year. It's looking at data, the average data for the whole year. So smart home automation is being searched about 1,000 times per month. This is how much it's going to cost you to run if you were to run ads, probably around $6 to be at the top. These are all the different long tail keywords you can run as well. So you want to find the keyword that will that's best fit for your business, right? Best smart home system. Looks like some of these keywords here are just searches for, let me just increase it. Are just research keywords. So I wouldn't go with a broad keyword like this. I would search for more like smart home automation install or smart home automation contractor, right? Something in that type to rank for your keywords. So home automation install, that may be something where you may consider. That keyword in Minnesota has about 100 to about 1,000 searches per month, costs $10 to be top. So this is how you do your research. You want to look for something that has some type of average search volume, right? Because if I find keywords that has no search and I'm ranked for it on the top search results, like I said, I'm not going to drive any traffic or leads to my business. There's even Google Home automation devices, or maybe even Alexa home automation device, like here, Alexa home automation price. But some of these, so this is kind of like a quick overview of how to do your keyword research to find the keywords that have a search volume, right? That people are searching for. When you find the right keyword, make a list of them, and then you can look into how can you add those keywords into your page, into your title, your meta description, and then if you go into back to this tool here, you can even look at the density, right? So this is the total words that's on your page, that's on your competitor's page, right? They have 400 words. These are the words that they have: 2-word phrase, 1-word phrase, smart home, they have home system, automation systems. So these are some of the words where you want to check to make sure you have the proper keywords to rank for that keyword. And then when I look at your website, Benny, in Focus System, I can look at the density and systems, home, you can see how many times it's mentioned in here. Automation's mentioned 7 times. And I can look at your competitors, how many times does your competitor have that keyword. Automation, they have 10. Automation looks like you have 7. So it's a lot of work, but this is how if you want to do it the right way, then you need to do it. Do a competitive analysis and really do your research before you start optimizing your website. And one other way is, like I said, just when you just search for it on the search results, you can just kind of click on their website, right? For example, this web page here, and you can just see what they're ranking for too. You can see what type of keyword you're using on the web page, looking at page info. So this is like a basic manual way to do competitive analysis, keyword research, and then once you have a game plan strategy of what you want to rank for, then you can go back to your website and then optimize your web page for the proper keywords and making sure that you have enough keywords in your content. I'd say I like to do about the 3% for every 100 words, so maybe 2 to 3%. So if you have 100 words, make sure you have at least 2 keywords mentioned at least 2 times, right? If you have 500 keywords, maybe make sure you have like 5 words that have the keyword in your content. But that can all change. You have to be careful too, because if you have too many of the same keywords, that can be called spamming your website too, and that can hurt your ranking. So there's a lot of different factors. Just kind of look at your competitors' homepage and see what they're using for their keywords. Again, sometimes they're ranking high without using any keywords, and then that means that there's other factors that is in play. It could be because they have a lot of backlinks coming to their website, have press release or something that's talking about home automation that's linking to their website. That's why they're ranking higher. But just on a simple way to think about it is just kind of look at the top search results, see what they're doing, and then also look at your website and make sure that you have that on your website too. So if I want to check how many times you have install and you have it one time, I would recommend maybe a couple more word with install, installation, installer, and you want to avoid where people are just searching for home automation, right? Some people are just looking to buy home automation systems and they're not looking for a installer, right? A contractor company to install it for them. So those would be some of the words where keywords, consumer and business to business keywords, right? The consumer will probably just look home installation for sale, right? Smart home automation for sale, or Amazon, whatever. Those are more like consumer search, but someone that's looking for like business help will probably have like home automation installer, home automation installation, vice versa. So that's like a quick overview of comparative analysis. And I think we have another workshop on Google Ads pay-per-click, and that's what you really want to kind of look at too, is how can you run effective ads where you can target anyone searching for home installation, plus if they mention anything with installation, right, your ads will show up for those type of searches. So I think it's important for SEO, but also find other ways to generate revenue to improve your return on investment. So that's something where you can explore. Any questions on this? So we went over keyword research. We went over competitive research and analysis. The next one looks like it's 7:30. We can kind of go over Google business. How do you optimize your website properly? But before that, I'll see if anyone has any questions, or Mo, if you have anything else to add.
Just a quick note on search intent. You mentioned when targeting a keyword, getting a better understanding of the other results that show up there. So it's also good to be in the or to have a standard approach when classifying a keyword. So when we're looking at, let's say, home automation system. So home automation system, the intent behind that is somebody looking for home automation system versus an intent for a user searching for home automation, which is leaning more towards informational because it's broader. If somebody's looking for a system or system provider or something that is much more indicative of a transactional intent, that is where that page, or that keyword rather, should align with a page that serves that purpose. So if somebody's searching for the cost, in that case, that can either be a blog that goes deeper into the different costs that are associated, or it can be an FAQ on a service page, somebody offering smart home installation, where it is how much or what is the cost of smart home installation. So good to have that mindset of breaking down different types and utility for the pages, and also how you're able to integrate value into each other so that you have a service page at the bottom answering a question that would have typically been addressed in a long form blog.
Right. Yeah, and just back to the keyword planner here. Some of the keywords that you would probably want to include would be home system cost, or free home automation system quote, right? Get a quote of or cost. Having these keywords in your on your webpage will help for these words too. These they call it long tail keywords, right? Any keywords that's more than one or two. Home automation system installation, home automation installation companies. These sound like it's more of a intent to hire somebody, right? So these are the keywords that you would want to kind of target, Benny. Just having these particular keywords on your website too, because if you don't have these words on your website, most likely you won't rank well for it. So I will look into companies, contractor, costs, quote. Those would be somebody, with an intent. You have to think like a consumer, where if I need to find a contractor to install it for me, I would probably write smart home installation contractor or company, or the cost to install home installation, smart home installation. And also the word smart, I think that's a key as well. Looks like a lot of this, it's more, a lot of people are using smart home automation and not just home automation. So really look into these words and try to include them into your web pages too. I do see smart homes, but if I also do search here, smart home automation, so that word here, smart home automation, you don't have when I just do like search here. So that's something where you may want to look into is, how do you put together content that will include important keywords in it, where without over spamming a bunch of content on your website that people don't want to read, just enough so that it can help the search engine so that you can rank higher. So as you know, content is king for Google. If you don't have that particular content, you're not going to rank for that particular keyword. So that's something to consider is having that, and also writing blogs about again, going back to what we spoke about earlier, finding these keywords and then also writing blogs and news around these keywords, and then linking that particular article, press release, or blog, social media post back to your website. And that's something we'll talk about next week, is a link building off page of how can you strategize, external content website to link back to your web page so that Google can, that the search engine can tell what you're trying to rank for, right? Any questions? If not, just real quick, looks like it's 7:36. We have about 25 minutes or so left. I can go over quickly about, the Google business profile. So same thing with that Google business. When you optimize your business, you want to make sure you have photos. You can look at your profile, you can click edit. So make sure if you don't have your Google business profile claim, make sure you claim it. When you claim it, you'll see this. You can edit your business categories, you can edit description. I'd say, the description is very important too. If you're trying to rank for something and if you don't have that keyword, it's almost like your website, right? If you have those keywords in your content as well as your website, someone searching for that, you'll have a better chance to rank on Google Maps, making sure that your profile is completely filled from phone number to your website, service area, time and date. And if you want to go more, you can add um, other options and features too. So making sure that's completely filled out is very important. Um, Reviews are very important as well. The more reviews you have, positive reviews, that's going to help you stand out. As we talked about earlier, the AI chatbot, they're looking for, people are always searching for the best companies to use, right? So reviews, credibility is very important. So make sure if you can get some incentives or to your customer clients for them to leave reviews. It's worth it because the search results, the chat bot, they're all pulling results from Google reviews and other business listings and review websites. Again, adding photos to your website so that people can see what you do, the type of work that you do. So those are all important things for your business profile here. And also having a link on your business profile. So if you can grab a link from your Google business profile and then linking it back to, so if I share, right, there's a link here where I can grab here, I can embed the web page, this map here on my website too. So if I was to add that to my website, it also helps too. So when I look at your website here, I see that you do have that too. You do have your map here, which is good. You can view in Google Maps. So yeah, so this is good that you have this map here, which it helps Google tell that this website belongs to this business profile, right? So that's the basic of Google business profile. Just make sure you have everything filled out. And this is just one thing, I know we spoke about last week, we talked about Bright Local. This is a paid tool. You can have free access to it too. But this tool will tell you what you need, what listings you have, and what you need, because just having Google business profile alone is not going to help you rank at the top. The more citations you have, they call it citations, the more local listings you have, the better chance of you ranking higher as well, because it's Google sees it as credibility. If on Yelp, you're on TripAdvisor, you're on Facebook, and all that, and your name, business, and phone number, address is all the same across the board, then most likely you'll have a better chance of ranking higher too. So I did run a report for you last week, a few days ago, and when we looked at it, let's see, campaign, or we can do start campaign. And again, it shows you citation tracker. Yeah, so we just want to view the report for us in focus system. So I ran this for you last week. We're gonna look at the report again. And again, this is based out of looks like about 30, you have 39. The key citations are 21. There's live, you have 39 live. Looks like competitors have about 24 extra or more than you. You have about 50% of the top local listings out there. So, this report here, I would say, make sure if you have a Facebook page, Facebook business page, make sure it has the right address and phone number and stuff, because tool did not pick it up. If you don't create one, same thing for Yahoo Local, Yelp, and anything that's missing here, I'd say add into it. And in the profile for all these listings here too, you want to make sure that you have all your keywords in there too, that you have a description, but that description has all your keywords in it, so that people can find you. As you saw earlier, Bing chatbot was pulling TripAdvisor listings based on the search restaurants in Minneapolis. So those are some of the keywords that you want to make sure that you have, and you can go down the list here. Um, if you don't have time, hire somebody to get these listings for you. And again, the more listings you have, the better chance of you being ranked higher. And surround all these listings around your target keywords, home automation, not just St. Paul, but home automation on for both your locations, right? Mention both your locations, because that will help you rank for both locations. So it looks like 15 minutes left. That's pretty much it for what we wanted to touch base on. I know it sounds like it's a lot of information, but the website SEO, we did touch on it too, in terms of having keywords, making sure you have the right meta tags, website speed, SSL certificate, all that stuff. And we'll go into more detail next week too, in terms of, the tech aspects of implementation. But this week we wanted to just do like like the basics of, how to do a competitive analysis, keyword research, website audit, using some of these AI tools to help you get the job done. I'll share out the slide too. So I have a bunch of links here for the tools that I use. And if you have any questions, like I said, feel free to reach out again, do a one-on-one, and I can kind of go into more detail on how to optimize your website. And now kind of open the floor for Q&A. We can do more live session, but we have about, it looks like 10, 15 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions? Anything else you would like to add, Tumo?
I think we did a pretty good job covering most of the fundamentals.
Erica, the best way. So let's go down to the contact information. Feel free to reach out to me or Mo. But for myself, yeah, reach out to me and we can schedule like a Zoom call. And like I could see what your needs are, how I can do to help you, and we'll do our best to assist you with that. And even if it's like to fix your website, I know some people reached out to me because their website was having issues, the link didn't work, or the website was down. Anything like that we can help and fix, and also be focused on the SEO part. Mitchell, home office, serve customers at their locations. And so for that, a lot of people do that. I recommend using a virtual business address and pay extra 30 bucks, 50 bucks a month and just use that business address. Because yeah, you don't want people to start showing up at your home, and you can't really list your home in public like that, right? Your home address. So that's what I do. I have a location in St. Paul and Minneapolis. Those are more virtual business address. If I need to meet with someone, I could just get a space there. And meet them. But most time, a lot of my communication is remote, Zoom, vice versa. But definitely, if you want to have the best chance to rank for your business, get a business address, not a PO box, because Google won't allow you to register PO box. Make sure it's a legit address with a suite number or whatever, where they can mail something to you, right? So look into that. If you need help, you can Google it, you can search it. I have a couple resources that I can share to you of what I use. But for sure, yeah, get a real business address so that you can be on the different search engines. Because especially if you have a storefront and you serve the local area, right? You want to make sure that you have a business address where, I do both. I serve national and local. So I can kind of get away with that, but especially storefront locations, restaurants and stuff like that. Yeah, that's they use those addresses, real address. Yeah, and now when you sign up, Google asks you a few questions. Do you have a home, like a physical address, or you only serve people, you know, outside, right? So there's different options where Google is trying to understand how you operate your business so that so they can show the results, um, so it can be more prominent and have more accurate results on the search engines, because someone searching for a local business might not want to see someone who only has a virtual business address, right? So that's why when you sign up a new account, you have to answer all these questions, because I just signed up a new account and Google wanted me to do a video of my location. And I'm like, maybe I need to rethink this out, because it's a nonprofit. We don't have an office yet. But Google, if you're going to do a storefront or location, then Google's going to check if it's a real location. Um, Again, next week will be SEO part 2. This will be more of the implementation side of things, where everything that we talked about today, we'll show you how to post content, how to optimize your meta tags. We'll log into, for example, like a WordPress website and be like, hey, this is where you will edit the title tags. This is how you install a SEO plugin to optimize your website. Um, so next week will be more on, building links. If you were to do a press release, or how do you do like a link back to your website? If you fill out a local business, do you want to link to your main homepage or your sub pages? So it all depends on your strategy. So next we'll go more into the deep dive into the implementation side of strategy, right? If you're posting on Facebook, do you want to just link back to your website, or do you want to link back to a blog, and then the blog will link to your website? So interlinking strategy, those all have a ranking factor too. So like I said, if Facebook links to a YouTube video and your YouTube video has a link to your website, that helps in certain ways too, where you're not sending all the links to your web homepage, but you're linking to your sub pages, so that the robots can crawl the different pages, and you'll have a better chance of ranking for um, different categories and different keywords. Any questions? We have about 10 minutes left. And again, all these digital marketing workshop, they all go hand in hand. When we talk about social media, we'll be talking about how to set up ads, how to do social media management, how is that important with the search engines, because the search engines will pick up your social media signals too. If you're providing fresh content all the time, Google will see that too, versus someone who doesn't touch the website, who don't post anything. Your chances of ranking with someone who is more active is lower. So the algorithm is always changing. There's always every month. I remember a few years ago, engagement wasn't part of the ranking factor, but now it is. The more that people click on your website when they find you on the search results, the higher chance of you'll be ranking higher as well, because it's telling Google that your website is relevant. It's important because people are clicking on it. And the bounce rate too, we'll talk about bounce rate, is when someone lands on your website, how long do they stay on your website? Do they leave right away, or do they browse the website and spend time on it? Because if they land on your website and leave right after, that means that your website is not relevant for whoever's searching for it. So your bounce rate will be higher, versus someone who spends time on it. It's telling Google that, hey, this is the right content, because people are finding this important. People are spending time going through your different pages on your website, and all these interaction has a play in the way you rank. This is how Amazon ranks too. When you sell stuff on Amazon products, how people is always asking, how can I rank higher for my products? Obviously, the top results get some most sales, right? So it's almost like that too. The more people click on it, the more people buy, the better reviews. You're gonna rank higher versus your competition. So, and there's so much different type of search engines. We're just focused on the search engines, but YouTube has its own search engine, Google Shopping has its own search engine, Amazon has its own search engine, Facebook, and you can go on and on, but we're just going to focus on the search engines here. And if you can kind of apply what you apply to search engine here, then everything else will kind of fall into place as well. And again, SEO is not an overnight thing where if you do something now, you're going to rank tomorrow. If it's something competitive, it could take months, years, you rank, because think of it as, if I'm competing for life insurance, right? I'm competing with all these big corporates, companies that's selling life insurance or that's selling investment stuff, right? If I was to search for a bank, you're competing against with Bank of America, Wells Fargo, all that. If you're trying to rank for like financial advisor, so that's something to think about. It's almost like money, right? It's like it's like an investment. SEO considered more like an investment for your business, where you might not see results right away, but if you continue to do what you do the right way, you'll start to see results. And I like to recommend focusing on a target geolocation first before you go national, because that's going to be easier. It's kind of like targeting St. Paul versus Minnesota, right? If you target city first, it's going to be easier versus targeting all of Minnesota. You're going to have a lot more competition, and then all of the US. So those are some of the strategies where you want to look into, maybe try to get ranked well for the local, less competitive keywords, and then build on from there to rank higher for the other search engines, for the other locations. That's all I have to for this session here. Mo, I don't know if you have anything else. Does anyone else have any questions?
Nothing from my end. Great session. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, appreciate you all for attending. Thank you all. We will post the video and slide. We'll send it out to you all. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we can do some one-on-one sessions. With that being said, have a good night. See you all next week. All right, cool. Still there, Mo? Oh. And hey, I guess you can, yeah. So we'll just do the same thing. When you get the chance, you can just send the link and stuff, and I'll post it up again.
All right, yeah, sounds good. We might have
Yeah.
the first half hour cut off, but I don't think it will be a big issue. But yeah, thank you for teaching.
Yeah, no, thank you for, I know we had to improvise a little bit there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it worked out. We didn't have too
Mhm.
many people at this session here. So I guess, from what I'm seeing is, we're gonna get some people